What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Episode, what are we on? Episode 99. Almost 100. Almost 100. One more episode. One more episode.
Uh, 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 uh.
We can barely hear you. Let me turn this up. What's going on?
Can you barely hear me or can you hear
And
me?
now I can hear you now.
Oh.
I can hear you now. How you doing, D?
I am a little, my stomach is upset.
Mm, mm.
Eh, what is all of that for? What is that? We just had some dinner and I don't think it agreed with me.
Mm,
I don't like any of those. I don't like it.
mm-hmm.
I don't like it at all. What does all of that mean? Filthy Frank, what is the side eye mean? What is that?
Mm. Let's wait 9 months and see what happens.
Nothing. There's absolutely nothing happening in 9 months unless it's like a new
For
gig,
the 99 and 2000.
new opportunities or anything like that. But I am chaste, virtuous woman. So none of that running up through here.
Oh,
I'm joining the movement, whatever the new one is. Mm-mm. I got things to do.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, 9 months, no ma'am, absolutely not.
Hmm.
No cap at all.
Let's see. Is that two L's? Oh no.
I'm a nice lady.
I think. Oh no. I don't know what that is. Um, I'm looking for something. Okay, so I got a magazine here that I'm reading, and it's talking about be an innovator, change the way we see the world. The NRO, uh, DII Research and Development funding program is going to um March start. They accepted proposals from March the 11th to May the 3rd, and the awards go up to 500,000. Let's see. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. I think this is Director's Innovation Program. Okay, yeah, found it. All right, it's the Director's Innovation Program. This one say May 3rd. It says accepting proposals March the 11th, May 3rd. This must be a different solicitation here. Cutting edge technologies, high payoff concepts relevant to NRO missions for national security. Continuous access to concepts, revolutionary concepts, access to non traditional developers, establish risk tolerant environment for conducting potentially high payoff projects, areas of interest, remote sensing, sense making, satellite system design, communication, other disruptive concepts, apertures, and so forth, who can apply. Their unclassified and classified projects and so forth. That's what I wanted to talk. That's one of the things I wanted to talk about. Always talking about how do you be on the cutting edge. Sometimes you got to create it. Sometimes you got to create the cutting edge. I want to. I want. You know what I was looking at this morning? Uh, I was looking at. I was looking at Cheryl Miller this morning, and I sent you some of her stuff, and she was talking about uh how hard her dad was on her, and the coaching was, Pat was on her, how hard she was on her, right? And yeah, I had a thought, right? And one of the thoughts was sometimes, um sometimes you can coach and push people out of, not necessarily their dream, but out of their path, right? And sometimes it can motivate the person, right? And so I got to thinking about, um what keeps people motivated to stay on their path, and do you need motivation to stay on your path, right? And I got to thinking about what obstacles will knock you off your path to the point where you never regain and you never recover. And then I got to thinking about, is it grit or the ability to, um accomplish, finish something and see it all the way through. So I had those thoughts this morning. I was like, I don't want to be motivational tonight, but I feel like sometimes in this group people get lost. Does that make sense? And it's not because of it hasn't been laid out for you. It's not because you hadn't seen it. It's not because you don't know about it. I just think people get sidetracked. And then when they get sidetracked, the time to recover and come back to what you truly started out with can get lost. That's just what I seen. I seen people come, I give you the blueprint, and then everybody go off on this other tangent, and it be 5, 6 years, and they come back and they were like, okay, well now what you say I'm supposed to do again? Well, had you done it 5, 6 years ago, you would have been completed with X, Y, Z task.
But I
And
don't think that's a motivational thing. I think that's a focus and direction thing. But that also is a discipline thing because what happens is there's they're not only watching Women in Linux, they're watching like 5 other tech shows with 5 other people that motivate them to get in tech. And everybody is saying that's where you need to be, but they're getting it from different angles of tech. And instead of saying, you know what? This is the path that I am going to choose to go down, and I am going to hunker down for 6 months to a year to study these things and get my foundation, and then I will and get a job, and then I'll go from there. Because like this, what we do is pretty motivational. And I think it's too much motivation out there. It's motivation enough to get you off your path for 6 months later because they everybody sells things and it makes it sound so good. Like, oh, go into tech sales. Oh, get into AWS. Oh, get into, whatever you want to be. You can be, you don't even need to have tech skills. Oh, you don't have to be in tech to be in tech. You get a six-figure job. Da 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 da. So you get all of this messaging, but when you really sit down and you sit in it, it is okay, what am I going to choose? And what am I going to commit to? Now, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that you are motivated, or is it direction
I'm
or
a
discipline rather?
I'm gonna read this comment. This is the one we read earlier, D. All right, so this video I did with Dewan Lightfoot 2 years ago, right? And the comment goes, let me blow it up a little bit more. I always go back and check the comments after, so many times. I just wanted to see what people were saying. All right. So Frankie Baltimore 9851. Let me blow it up a little more because it looks a little small. But every time I do that, it goes away down here somewhere. Here we go, right there. Okay, there it is. All right. She's super knowledgeable. This is a sysadmin that has morphed into something else that would take years to acquire. Yep, that ain't that. I never lied about that. I think it's a bit difficult to have her answer the questions in a sysadmin Linux foundational relatable way. I don't think so. I think I've pretty much told you RHCSA, RHCE, get the fundamentals of networking, understand the fundamentals of cloud, and more fun. I hope I made sense here, but the interview drives home my point. I'm a DevOps engineer. I learned cloud, specifically AWS, first before I became decent at Linux. In my computer science major at Penn, doing my master's in computer information technology. I don't know what that means at Penn State, what that curriculum looks like. Basically, I guess Penn State online replica of the class in computer science program, which works perfectly for my busy schedule. So I learned backwards and sideways. She mentioned a lot of DevOps tools we use, but I would say the only Linux in her is the command line, whatever, some kernel stuff. But to me, this is a professional DevOps engineer. Yes, I said it. Yeah. So this was 2 years ago, right? So what my point to this is, right? When it's coming down to like learning AWS, you can go and learn AWS, and I see this happen a lot. People go learn the cloud, and then when it's time to get on the command line to troubleshoot um why the application isn't running properly, or why that Kubernetes cluster won't bring up some type of pod or application. People stumble. People stumble. And so it's this cracks me up, right? Here, because if you look at, I guess, from this title, and let me back out here. Let me back out. Why is Linux important to learn? I go through that in this talk about it, and I talk about it. But I also talk about it on my own channel. So you know, I can't go into deep dives on other people's channel when they're asking, and I'll be in interview and they're asking me questions, right? So I go back and look at stuff because I just be wanting to see what people say, what they're talking about, what people are, what's their take on stuff. Like this one here said, this video has encouraged me to try and gain Linux Plus. Somebody else got Linux out of it, but hey, that person didn't, and that's okay.
But
Um,
also the DevOps role, and what we've discussed, if you're on this channel, that it's morphed over time.
Correct.
The
Well, the
DevOps, the
no,
SRE, like,
well the
what does
Linux
that look like?
well, the Linux sysadmin role has morphed over time into that DevOps role, which now has kind of morphed into a site reliability engineer in some aspects in some jobs. And it's funny that you say that, right? So this is what I did, right? Before coming on to the show. I did a search and I typed in Raytheon Linux admin. And I just wanted to see what comes up. What's the first thing I see? A system DevOps administrator. What is that? What is a system DevOps administrator? And the only reason why I'm phrasing it that way is because a lot of times these roles end up morphing into other things. So let's go look at it. Linux, I mean, a system DevOps administrator. All right. So 401k, health, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Let's see. This is Collins, blah, blah, blah. That's out in Aurora. You will leverage company best practices on DevSecOps. You will ensure system reliability and continuity by developing and validating fault tolerance and disaster recovery plans. You'll be responsible for daily DevOps and system administration and support. And this is where I go into system administration and DevOps have kind of morphed into each other. And you'll see a lot of this if you look at, and this is just a person that looks at jobs every day. I look at jobs every day. Every day I look at jobs. Every single day. It's not, I probably look at jobs 5 times a day. I look at them in the morning, I look through them midday, I look through them in the afternoon, and then I look through them before I go to bed. Cause I hit different websites. I just want to see what's up, what's coming in, what's out there. I got stuff sending me stuff from LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, Indeed, the ladders, um, I see, Dice, and some other place. So I get jobs sent to me every single day. Plus recruiters send me jobs. So it's not a day that don't go by where I'm not looking to see, okay, this is where it's morphing into. Here's where I'm when I start getting hits, like right now, OpenShift is huge. Getting hits left and right for OpenShift. People are hitting for OpenShift right now. So it's just like it's like, oh, okay. Some people are leaving the cloud again. We're making that transition. They're leaving the cloud. This stuff done got expensive again. And it's a 5-year rotation. Right now, it's hot. You see people go back to the cloud another 5 years, like we need OpenShift, OpenStack. It's just one of them things just where you see that transition. So it just cracks me up. Here you'll be doing administration stuff for compliance tooling, hardening and patching, disaster recovery. You will set up and maintain local site applications and VMware EXI. System admin remote with shipboard rotation. That's at Raytheon. Linux sysadmin. Let's look at the Linux sysadmin. All right, sysadmin, workspace, collaborate, success in this role. You're able to develop, implement, and maintain secure, cost-efficient environments across various classified programs. You'll be administering Linux boxes. You'll be working with DHCP, Windows fundamentals, working with operating system, working with RAID, working with cybersecurity. Get your security plus. Now, this is probably more of a true sysadmin role. This is part of true sysadmin role. Once they throw Ansible and AWS in there, you're doing DevOps. You're doing DevOps. Um, Multidisciplinary IT system administrator, senior sysadmin. Let's look at that one. Let's just see what they got in here. Red Hat, DNS, LDAP, OS, configure, install, experience with VMware, technical problems, Linux architecture deployment, SAN, NAS, DoD, high performance computing, antivirus, scripting, SCAP tools, probably some automation in there, probably a bash script or Ansible. But that's usually what I'm seeing. Right. All right. So now we're going to take it one step further. One step further. Right. I went up and I said, okay, Give me 200K jobs dealing with automation. So automation programming engineer. This look custom fabricating. This look like something else. Here's a back end. Here's a senior infrastructure engineer with Dandy paying from 200 to 225. They're a $200 billion company. Um, see, analog experience, product engineers collaborate, advocate for improvements to the infrastructure and security. 5 years of experience. Here we go. And look, now this falls into senior infrastructure engineer, expert at Google Cloud or Google Kubernetes engine, GKE, working with Terraform. Again, sounds like DevOps, CI/CD, collaborate, pushing code, technical architecture and organizational problems, experience with performance and optimization, remote, thrive in a remote first organization. So, Postgres, metrics for logging and tracing. So again, here's that site reliability engineer piece that comes into it because you'll be doing distributed tracing and metrics. Time spent with venture backed startup and during hypergrowth, right? So you have to read through these job descriptions because a lot of these job descriptions cross between infrastructure, automation, system admin, DevSecOps, site reliability engineer, even platform engineer. They kind of cross. Yeah, they're begging devs to convert. No, you're not gonna need 10 years of experience. A lot of people, I know some people that DevSecOps engineers and they only got 2 to 3 years of experience and they make 100K. And they're in this group. And AWS, yeah, I mean you could get the free version and you could get credits. I don't know when you say the developer's tax, what is the developer's tax you're referring to? Right? All right, so for you, I took it two more steps, but let's go to the second one. All right. I said, give me a Linux engineer at 200K. Right. So I said, okay, a Linux engineer. Let's look at this. A Linux systems engineer, autopilot at Tesla. Right. This was posted 30 days ago. The pay range is from 104 to 384,000. Right. 104 to 384. Then you go and you start doing again staff, keyword staff there. And now we're talking about embedded software engineers. Now you're looking at 104 to 384. You got AI here. Um, Principal DevOps software engineer. All right. I've been on this before. Principal DevOps software engineer. I've had that as my title. And that pay range was from 280 to 350, right? So um it really depends on the job at the time, what the need is, and go from there. Oh, I haven't seen the developer's tax. I don't know about that. I don't know. I have to look that up. All right. Software engineer Linux update systems. 104 to 384. One, yeah, I don't know nothing about the developer tax. I never heard of that. Requiring companies to capitalize and amortize corporate research and development expenditures. The level of complexity related to what information needs to be gathered and how to access the data from the company should be approached. Nope, hadn't heard of it. Hadn't heard of it. So DevOps engineer right here. Let's go back up right here. Captivation software out of San Antonio. It's remote 130 to 270. DevOps engineer, Linux, AWS, Java, Git, Ansible. Right? Like I don't know what else to tell people about some of these jobs. You have to read through these and you'll see uh what it looks like. Yeah, I mean, you could just have Ansible, Jenkins, and GitLab or GitHub. Um, Ansible, Terraform, or Ansible Pulumi, or Ansible with Red Hat, um, GitHub Actions, GitLab, experience with Jira, Agile. That's usually what it falls into. Throw in something like Datadog or um, a cloud into that. Even you get even more money. Principal software engineer, um, staff staff site reliability engineer observability at Fastly, right? I mean, these keep going. Platform, embedded Linux software, pre-sales, staff, like they keep going. And then I went up and I said, okay, give me Linux, TSSCI, those that are cleared, at 200K. So this come back at Northrop Grumman, NG, from 173 to 259 in Maryland. Um, sysadmin here in Annapolis, just a sysadmin, not a staff sysadmin, but a sysadmin, 170 to 235. And people were like, no, you don't, you need at least, you know, you know, 10 to 15 years of experience to be to have this, and that's not necessarily true. um it really depends on the contract and what they're looking for at that time. So I don't subscribe to you need to have 10 years worth of experience to get a sysadmin job at, at a certain level or whatnot. I just look at this right here. A sysadmin one, a sysadmin one, all right? A sysadmin one. They want you with about 5 years of experience. Get your TSSCI with a poly, and just make sure you know Linux, KVM, storage. And let's be clear, all of this right here you can get for cheap. You could go on eBay and get a NetApp storage unit for probably $500, if not cheaper, a older one. Ansible, you can get that for free. Docker, Kubernetes for free. GitLab for free. DNS you can learn for free. NTP for free. Free IPA for free. STE tools, that may be something local to what they know. I'm not sure about Lat Art. Nexus you can learn for free. A lot of this stuff you can learn for free. If you know half of this, 9 times out of 10 you can learn the rest on the job, right? But again, it's paying from 130 to 270. 130 to 270. It depends. Sysadmin and McLean, 175 to 250. Again, this is on the DoD side. So on the DoD side, they're looking for you got a clearance, you got your Linux, Ansible, you know a cloud, you understand VMware. That's usually where it's at. Cloud architect, a director, a hybrid cloud product architect, secret clearance. I mean, the list goes on. Um, yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like DevOps, you do a little hodgepodge of stuff. Companies are taking less chances at the moment. Most companies don't have fun. Yeah, well, here's the thing about the companies that you're probably referring to, Frank. The companies that are probably startups, The companies that are probably um public now private sector, they're probably not. Public sector, they're hiring left and right. In fact, I work with a with a guy right now. He don't even have his security plus. He learning, he training to get his security plus now, right? And he's studying up on some stuff right now. So when you say that, you have to specify that with what area, because a lot of the stuff that I'm looking at and what I see, ain't it. That's not the problem. The problem that I normally see is, and this is just my honest opinion, is um I don't see enough people with Linux, Jenkins, GitLab, GitHub Actions, understand runners, Kubernetes. I don't though we don't get a lot of those that come across. And most of the people that are applying, when you get in an interview, you don't even know what's on your resume, or you can't even really speak to what it is that the job is requiring of you. Like, if I ask you about Kubernetes, or if I ask you about Azure, or if I ask you about how pipelines work, how do you configure, um how do you use Ansible to configure uh 15 machines and check the var log directory to make sure it's not full, or how do you set up Elasticsearch, or anything that I think that a engineer should know, that's been in the game according to their resume 5 to 17 years, or 5 to 10 years. I feel like people just are not there. People are just not there, and it's like you could tell the difference between somebody who actually built it from scratch, or came into a position where stuff was already built and they just continued to use what was already there. If it's the best thing to do, if you're applying for a job, go build it from scratch. Literally, go build it from scratch. Right? So when I say that, I'm talking about this right here. Let me scroll up. They laid it out for you. Like, this is the interview giveaway to me. Linux, AWS, Java, Git, Ansible. Okay. So I'm probably building some Java applications on Linux in AWS, using probably um Terraform or something to deploy the infrastructure, Ansible to configure the infrastructure in AWS, Linux as the operating system, and some Java installed on that system, or an application or Docker container with that. I haven't even looked at it, right? I haven't even looked at it, but that's just what my guess is. So let's go look at it. Let's go see what they say, right? And you should be able to read job descriptions like that title, right? What it says, it should kind of click to you what that is. It should click to you. Now look at here. This one is a DevOps, and then this one is a sysadmin. All right, so let's go. All right, support development and deployment of infrastructure in AWS. Well, I kind of figured that. Told me in the title. Automate deployment process and ensure reliability and scalability of services. Okay, so I need to make sure I understand how to scale services in AWS and make sure they're redundant, make sure we got things working. Manage and maintain cloud infrastructure. So manage and maintain, meaning you probably already got something there, or when I deploy it, I need to make sure we're able to manage and maintain it. So that means I need some type of monitoring system. That means I need to know how things work. So, okay, cool. Collaborate with development teams to integrate their applications into the infrastructure. Collaborate with the development teams who are probably writing in Java to integrate their applications into the infrastructure. In other words, I'm looking at Java being deployed on the infrastructure. And 9 times out of 10, what's being left out is probably Kubernetes, but we'll wait and see what comes down here at the bottom. And it could just be some instances. I don't know. Let's go. Continuously improve processes and tools to ensure high availability and performance. Well, how do I keep things up? Maybe a load balancer, maybe canary deployments, maybe blue green deployments. Maybe I need to understand those things. Maybe I need to understand some basic concepts of that. What does it mean to be continuous deployment? What does it mean to be have continuous delivery? What are our SLAs? What are we looking for? Are we looking for 5 nines, 4 nines? How many nines? Those are kind of questions I would be asking. Stay current with the new technology and industry trends. Okay, cool. Need a clearance. All right, cool. 5 years of DevOps experience or software development, Java preferred, and bachelor's degree, or your high school diploma or equivalent of 9 years of experience. Strong knowledge of Linux and administration and troubleshooting. Look at there. Back to Linux again. Can't escape it. Proficient in configuration management tools such as Ansible or Puppet. They're probably leaning towards more Ansible. They probably got some old stuff in Puppet that they're just gonna leave around, but 9 times out of 10 they want to migrate that off of Puppet into Ansible. Knowledge of AWS services, EC2, S3, and Lambda. Okay, when I hear EC2, you should be thinking instances. When I think SC3, I'm thinking object store, and I'm thinking Lambda. They're thinking what? Serverless? Okay, cool. And their application to deployment and management of infrastructure. Experience with application and OS deployment, scaling, and management. Ability to develop in multiple programming language, Bash, Python, or Go. Familiarity with Git and development tools and development pipelines. Problem solving. Understand Agile and get your Security Plus. And if you're feeling froggy, experience with containers and Kubernetes are a plus. There's your Kubernetes. There's your applications. Boom. There you go. There's the job. Right. Right. So this is we talk agile every week. We do. We've been talking agile every week, beating it into your head. But again, you all can go any route that you want to go. I'm just pointing out to you where things are at, right? I'm gonna go down this list one more time here. Assist admin for 175 to 250. And people are saying there are no jobs. Sysadmins don't get paid that. I'm like, oh, okay. You right. The fast-paced roles helps manage and protect our system infrastructure while earning 175 to 250. Your salary isn't the only prize. We offer exceptional benefits. They got a match. They get, generous PTO, blah blah blah, 100% coverage of your what was that 100 of your benefits, of your medical benefits. Maintaining, troubleshooting, upgrading, performing regular security tests, managing and troubleshooting Windows, Linux, and Mac, tier 1, tier 2 technical support, with a full scope polygraph. All right. And yeah, that's it. Right? They looking for somebody with a full scope. Like, the question is, would they upgrade? That'd be the question. But again, it's 175 to 250. Usually, like I say, if it's 175 to 250, they're gonna come in the middle. So they'll probably make an offer on this job at like 225. They may push to 240. They may push to 240. For a good person, they'll do 250 and probably more for the right person. You could probably squeeze that. All right, OpenAI is looking for a global investigations manager for 320 to 420 for 425 a year. I have no idea what they do, but let's go. They do 50% matching, 20 weeks, blah blah blah. Investigate. You will ensure that investigation team conduct high quality investigation while scaling its impact and addressing new abuse domains. So looks like here internal stakeholders and broader AI trust and safety communities. It's in San Francisco. She automated something, represent the team and findings to external industry, government, and academia audiences. Okay, use open AI. They just go present your stuff. Here is HPE, Howard Packard Enterprise, Harvard Cloud Product Architect with a clearance from 142 to 327. All right. A space ground systems. This is working in Scottsdale. This is GDIT 202 to 232. So I've shown you a array of jobs from here's OpenShift 240. Um with your clearance and where it's at. Python engineer 130 to 300, right? Aerospace system senior systems engineer 190 to 240. Like these jobs, you don't normally see this many jobs at the 250 400 level. So that tells me now that people that some contracts have actually the funding have came through for some of these contracts. And so now that these the funding has came through for these contracts, they need people and they need to staff up and they need to staff up quick. I would not be surprised if a lot of these jobs are one interview and done. It really is going to depend on how you present yourself inside of a on your resume and present yourself in the interview. I would not be surprised if some people are hiring people just on the spot for a lot of these jobs. I wouldn't be surprised. I've had it happen to me several times, so I just wouldn't be surprised. And you just feel like, oh well, you say you want a tech lead, but you're paying 260 when the principal is 260 to 280. Tech lead should be above that. So I'll push back and say, okay, well, the minimum I would take is 290, 300. And if they come back at 287, I'd be like, all right, well, I'm a squeezer. So I'm gonna be like, well, can we get a sign on bonus to make up the difference? Say a 10,000 sign on bonus or 15, whatever. That's what I would say. Sysadmin 2, Captivation software. I will be finding out what Captivation software, how long this contract is for. Because they throwing out big numbers. For sysadmin 1 and 2, they throwing out big numbers. Yep. Kiara, I try to tell them. They think I'll be lying up here. Like they like, oh no, she lying. Nah, they're usually one and done, and it's usually you talk to the person, the recruiter talk to you. Probably talk to the hiring manager. They either like you or they don't, and then they want you to talk to the team. And usually the hiring manager's like, yo, that person is cool. We like them. I just want you to get a feel for them, and y'all get to yapping it up. And usually they'll hint in the interview like, yeah, we got some more people to talk to, but we're gonna probably contact you on Friday after we interview everybody else. But we really like you, and then they just send you over the call back and like, yep, they really love you. Yeses across the board. Here you go. Sign your contract for 275, 250. You're on contract for the next 5 years. We're gonna give you raises. Here's your sign-on bonus, and then you just go on your merry little way, and you just rotate contracts over and over again, right? You just rotate over and over again. Mm, that's what I see. Here's a SRE at 252, 168 to 252. All right. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was I wanted to talk about what was it like a couple of years ago. So, I went to Reddit D and I was like, what is Reddit talking about a few years back? You know, 200K jobs 4 or 5 years ago, right?
Right. But you know what? I was also thinking about that before you go deep dive into this about the person who made the comment. It
Mhm.
also, like, you've been in the game for 20 years now.
Mhm.
Where you started may be different from where they started and where they have a reference of what a DevOps engineer is, right?
Mhm.
So it's just like, okay, young one. You know what I'm saying? Like you've come in, but you don't know my journey and it's not enough for this snippet.
Mhm.
Like this is my base, this is my foundation, and I'm always going to be true to a admin, but I have grown and taken all of these skills and built upon them over time.
Mhm.
And I think that's, one of the good things about coming here and getting your roadmap from Women in Linux, that it starts with that foundation of
Mhm.
system admin and putting your hands on the hardware, building your lab, getting back to the essence of what computing is, being an engineer is not just arbitrary um theories and thoughts of what might happen. It's just like, what, you got an old computer in there? Did you take it apart? Do you still need it? What, do you have a lab? What does that look like?
And the last book somebody read, like, do people literally like? I literally go read white papers. Literally, I go read white papers. I sit down and I'm like, okay, what is this new technology they're talking about? Prime example. One of the articles came out. Linux is not built for the cloud, so they've made a whole new operating system based just for the cloud. So now I've been exploring, like, okay, well, how's that going to take off? What is that going to look like going for? Who's going to continue the development of that? How well is that gonna pick up? How's that gonna translate to colleges?
Right.
How's that gonna translate for R&D? Like, what does that look like? So
Uh,
I'm always reading the white papers to see like where people are going and what's the latest and greatest. So research and development stuff from like what the DoD and DARPA is doing, what are they doing at different colleges, just being a brush because those technologies may not hit right now. It may be 10, 15 years before they pick up, but you would be on the cutting edge. That's why I always like go read about quantum computing. Go read about what they're doing in quantum. Go read about what they're doing in space. Go read about what they're doing with crypto in space. Go read about what they're doing with blockchain in space and what are they doing with AI and quantum? Because quantum is going to be the new thing. AI has been here forever. Quantum has been here forever, but now we're getting into the point where we can actually buy quantum laptops and push forward and go down this path of like, okay, what can I really do? That's why you don't. That's why IBM got all the patents. IBM, everybody been waiting for IBM to die,
It's
but they
never
keep
gonna die.
they
It's
keep
never
coming
gonna
back.
die. They bought the company I work for. They like, so we got bought by IBM. And then they did another merger with this company. Like IBM is going to absorb everything.
Hmm.
They're going to absorb everything. I want to get in and touch on this question from Jamal. So what are you reading, or how do you keep up with tech? Is asked often. This is something that we touch on all the time. And some people, I think, it has to be, like find your passion is a little overrated. But if you're truly interested in something, like Tam loves tech. And because we're in a space where we are making money because we are technologists. It's something we do every day. This is our 9 to 5. This is our business. Things are tech related. We
Hmm.
make money in everything that we enjoy doing. And so we're always absorbing it. Tam, usually she is like a sponge. To watch her read on the tablet, if she was not on this computer, the tablet will be like connected to her hand. She is always reading. She is always downloading. I am always reading. I am always downloading. Like literally up where we gotta be like, I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed. Like I have to make myself go to sleep because I get my second win at 1, 2 in the morning because I'm trying to find out how I'm going to fit things together. How can I automate this? What system can I do that? On top of the 9 to 5 and the task that I have to do for that day. If it's something that you're in, that's why we say be intentional about what you want to do in your career and go forward. Yes, Heather, they do own Red Hat. IBM does own Red Hat. But be intentional, more intentional about what you want to do and where you want to go because it makes the learning easier. You look forward to solving puzzles or seeing what's coming down the pipe. The same thing that we give everybody every week, a couple of times of the week, are the same tools that we use. I look at the business. I know what's going on with my 9 to 5 because you know what? I follow the business and I can see how what's going on in the newspaper affects me on a day to day. Tech stocks and jobs. I take those principles and I use them. I look at the stocks, we look at the trends because it's our lives. We're absorbing our lives. We don't want to be washing up at the graveyard either.
Yeah. So what am I reading right now? Well, I just got my MIT technology review. So I'll sit down and read that. I also had to have it send it to me in a PDF too, just because I'm redundant. Um, I also have my business journal that I read because I correlate tech, what goes on in tech, with cities. So I correlate what goes on in tech with cities because that means that tech in those cities are getting funded, and so that's going to be the place where it thrives at first. And so that means that city would have that technology first and then expand. But what does it mean to that city? What does it mean to that city? Because that city then gets funding for that tech, which means the government is going to fund that city for that tech, which means there's going to be jobs in that city, which means there's going to be a certain set of skills people are going to have. And they're going to look for people with that skill set. And if they when they start looking for people with that skill set and they start expanding that business, then that business now can expand beyond that city. But what is that? What would that look like? How do you expand a business beyond San Francisco? How do you expand a business beyond Minnesota? How do you expand that and I'm saying technical business beyond the places and where it started at? What does that audience look like? So when you start looking at the funding that comes down the pipe for that, then I'm starting to look at like, oh, okay, here's gonna be a new wave that's gonna come down the pipe. So I may go look at TechCrunch. I may sit back and look at a couple of YouTube channels that I keep up with on markets. I also look at international markets as well too. I'm always looking to see what's going on in Singapore. Um, I think it's mm, let me see. I can't remember the name of the. I think it was S27 or something. Well, I would get newsletter about what is being developed in Singapore and Thailand and stuff like that, because I look at those because I'm like, okay, well, what company in the US is going over there to build, and what does that look like for them to build over there, and what kind of talent are they looking for over there versus what talent they looking for over here. So that's why I would say keep the international jobs going and so forth. Let's
The
see.
landscape is global.
Yeah, and I have a favorite RSSPs. I just got right now. I did have GKE at one. I mean, Google going in at one time, but whatever's going on with Amazon and Microsoft, there's a whole channel for that right there. And then I throw Fed Scoop in the general channel so y'all can see where the money is going. But if you don't read it, you won't know it. Right? Medium, that was good until they started asking you to subscribe and pay and something like that. I'm
And
like,
then they
man.
gonna give you this much, and then you get your 2 free articles, then you get all these pop-ups. You're like,
Yeah,
If Imma just go to Reddit."
yeah, yeah. All right, so let's get into this. All right, this is from 5 years ago. 5 years ago. So let's put it at 2019. And it
Hold on,
said,
somebody asked me a question. It said, "D, I know Tam introduced you to tech, but what training did I do first?" Linux.
Linux.
Linux. I did Linux first. Like literally when what was that? The Linux Academy first started. I was doing Linux. Like Tam pulled out her notes from college,
No,
her
I pulled up a
questions.
terminal
No, no,
and I
no.
pulled
I'm
up my
telling no. When
questions.
you pulled up interview questions that you had, you pulled out resources that you used at work. Like she pulled out all the stops. Like I was gonna be working next to her that next week. She pulled out
She
all of the
was.
goodies on me. But yes, it was the Linux Academy when the founder, he was just doing the trainings himself. And when I tell you he would be messing up and fixing it and all that other good stuff, it was Linux. I got a little pocket guide. Um yeah. And and then I think I looked through I bought the A plus because of course I learned kind of backwards. Tam threw me into Linux, but once read the A plus, it built my confidence because I knew a lot more about tech than what I thought I knew. And I was like, "Oh gosh, I've been networking for all of this time." And so it made it easier for me because I was able to grasp what the terms were, because going into any industry, it's learning the language. And I knew the language, I just didn't have a technical name for it. Pluralsight Pluralsight was Pluralsight was out back then, but Pluralsight was more marketed towards enterprise for like big businesses, and it was really expensive if you wanted like a single user subscription. It was really expensive back then. And then like Udemy, even the Linux Foundation, their courses were a little stiff. And the reason why we started training, because it was more like, okay, you learn all of this and you learn your little SLS and all this other stuff, but what do you do with it? What does it look like? What does it look like day to day? How do you take everything that you just learned and use it on the job? How do you bundle that with your other skills and use that on the job? And we still don't see people in the market do that. They may teach you Linux, they may teach you AWS, but how is it applicable to your day-to-day life, your day-to-day job? They don't teach that. I don't want to say I study CompT. I guess so. If I read the book, yeah, I read the book. I have it as a reference book. It's holding up something. It's on the shelf over here. I have it as a reference book. And for me, all the books are reference books because you want to know where you're at. I didn't get a cert, but yeah, I read through it because I was just like, okay, because how I learn, I need a fundamental, I need a baseline on what that looks like. Because coming in from where now, I met Tam, we were introduced to each other maybe 10 years ago. So she was 10 years into her career. So in teaching me Linux, we were already on she has grown as a teacher as well because we were on two different levels of understanding because it's something she had already done. And so, for her, it was, we're the same age, so I understand going to Barnes and Nobles, getting the book, downloading the disc, going, I learned about the IRC and just, some deep stuff. Like I was thrown in, I'm on open source. I am contributing to projects. I'm doing all type of stuff from that level. You know what I'm saying? So, and for me, I like to tinker. So going to my old computers or saying, okay, getting jobs or finding programs like Packet Tracer where I can go in there and build the server and network and the wires and all that other type of stuff. I enjoyed that type of thing for me. So you got to find your zhuzh.
Code Academy is fine. I mean, you Code
Yes.
Academy, Exorcism. There's a ton of them out there that you can go to.
I mean, for me, it's all how you learn. Like some people's voices are more appealing to others. Some people's visuals are more appealing to others. For me, I have to, I have to see it, I have to hear it, and then I want to do it. I have to have my hands on keys. I want to do it myself. And then I'm going to have questions. I may not have a lot of questions up front because I'm just downloading it. And that's why it is even O'Reilly, I go in there. I'm a research person. I can go into the black hole of research and have tabs upon tabs upon tabs. It's how my brain is and just kind of take that and find out what looks easiest for me to absorb and download. And, some people type it out, some people write it out, some people are screenshots. Everybody learns differently. And so, what you absorb, how you absorb it, is up to you. So, it doesn't bother me when people are looking for a specific career path, but it does bother me because right now, learning is so accessible to everyone is that you don't have to go like to commit to a 4-year college to learn to see if you want to do something or not. You can say, "Oh, web development. I think I want to do that." And go spend a weekend in it and say, "Okay, hey, I really like this." Or I like this chunk of it. I like the coding part or I like, the design aspect of it. Okay, all of the other stuff I don't care for. What does design look like? What are programs wrapped around design? So there's so many things, we're here to expose you to all of those things. That's why when you come and you come from a different career, if you're in nursing, if you're in trucking, we always say bloom where you're planted because you're already in that field. You have knowledge. Now you're just adding skills to your tool set. So you don't have to start in an entry level. You already have skills. You can already speak to that thing. You can already speak medical terms confidently. You know what that looks like. I done been through a lot of stuff in tech, and I just be like, "That's not my thing."
I'm sitting here looking at. I was trying to look up my interview questions. As I'm looking up my interview questions, I come across my job offer from the University of Washington. I was like, oh, you was just a young pup in the game. You didn't know nothing.
Oh, you was just so green. You was
You're
just
a
so green.
young
You
pup in the game.
you're so
Oh,
green. And
so
but an adult.
such
You're
a
green, but an adult.
such a young pup in the game. I was like, I just saw how much it was gonna pay every month, and I had just accepted it.
Just as happy. Just as happy.
uh, and then I was like, man, I ain't never been paid this much before. It was so sweet. I was so happy. You never. Well, see, the thing about it though is, Stacy, you gotta stick with the path, right? Uh,
Gotta put
and
your
and
blinders on
and
all
here
that
and
stuff.
here's the thing. No one wants to hear this, right? No one
What
wants to
do
hear this.
what do they, no one wants to
No
hear?
one wants to hear this.
Tell them
Don't
what they don't want to hear.
don't go outside. It's over. Don't go outside. You cannot go outside. You cannot go outside. People are like, well, what did you do? You know what I did? It's just Friday night, I'm in the lab. I'm sitting down, literally locked in a room. I'm not watching TV. I'm not doing. I just that's just me. That works for me. I ain't saying that work for everybody. I'm in the lab. I'm not going outside. Guess what? I go to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. I wake up about 9 or 10. Get some breakfast. Guess what I'm going back and do? Back in the room. Back again. I'm back. Because I'm back. It is one of those things that I did, and I did it for years. I locked myself in a room for years, like at least at least 2.5, 3 years, to the point where I was like, you could say a command, you could say a command to me, and I'd be like, boom, you do this, boom, you do that, boom, you do this. Like you could not you could not complete a sentence to me without me knowing what you're about to say, what problems that you probably have faced. And I literally had the little shuttles, they were gaming computers, the little shuttles. I had those before the Nucks came out. I had a gaming company went out of business in Seattle, and one of the ladies that worked with me at University of Washington called me and said, "Hey, my friend gaming company went belly up. They're getting rid of all their stuff." I went over there with $500, and I bought a stack of shuttles for $600, KVM equipment, routers and switches. I was like, y'all finna all get Linux on y'all. I'm finna plug you up and create VLANs on the switches. I'm getting ready to learn a new switch. I put RIP routing on my Cisco routers. I had multiple switches and VLANs working. I sectioned them up in the room, and I was like, you're gonna get Fedora, you're gonna get SUSE, you're gonna get Windows, you're gonna be my DNS server, you're gonna be my Active Directory server, you are gonna be my backup server, you're gonna be my logging server, and then this gonna be my disaster recovery. And I section them all off in VLANs and stuff. So when it came down to understanding networking and DNS and routing and switching and all of that stuff, how to build a Windows box, how to do Active Directory, how to set up a forest, how to do DNS, how do you build out GPOs? What does that look like? I did all of that stuff. And then I said, okay, when it time for the interview, I'm like, like the Western movies, and they walk up and they got their guns, and the music be playing and the little tumbleweeds be going dun, 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 dun. And I look, I was up there, I was like, whatever you got, back in the holster, right? Because you're not gonna outwork me in this interview. You're not gonna trip me up in this interview. And then I started focusing in and getting down bash scripting and Python and automating and troubleshooting and all that stuff. And then I was just like, when they got to me, I was like, you can't tell me nothing. They can't tell me nothing. Like, I'm ready. I'm ready. And so that's just what I did. But you can't go outside.
But and then you also had a mate at the time that was tech focused as well. He was a geek. And so it was easier to have somebody that help you study and you can speak the language with somebody
Well, he didn't
a little
really
bit,
a little bit. Yeah,
a little bit.
he knew Windows, he didn't know Linux. He understood some concept, DNS is DNS. Active Directory and LDAP is just those things. So if you got the baseline of that, you can kind of switch back and forth. But there are some nuances when it comes to it that you may not get.
Right.
I was in all over Seattle. I was from Birmingham, Silverdale area all the way to Seattle. You said, yep, right, you right, town. When I was going for RxCSA, I was in the lab to 3 a.m. Damn partying. Yeah. See, this is why I go back to the conversation that I had on Saturday is this. I can show you how you could be a millionaire in 10 years. In 5 to 7, you'll be close. And the market may take a swing and you may get there. But here's what I get pushed back on. Not sometimes people are like that take too long. That take too long. Most people want to be a millionaire. They want to learn now and in the next 3 years be a millionaire. Well, I just showed you multiple jobs paying from 100,000 to roughly 300,000, give or take a job. 100,000 times 10 is a million. 200 times 10 is 2 million. I figured you could get a $200,000 job within 1 to 3 years. You may could do it quicker than that, depending on who you are. But at the same token, if you can ride out with your skill sets, add a little bit, a little something, add a little leadership, add a little agile, start going for the next thing up. First one to 2, 3 years, you may start out junior. Next one, you get staff. The next one, you're at, you know, senior or principal, or maybe you shoot from junior to principal because you studied the game and you understand where it's going and you got the tools and you understand it. But if you think that you're gonna get in a job and you're gonna sit there and you're gonna ride out 100,000 for the next 10 years at that one job, at that one skill set, just doing that, you're gonna be unemployed.
Inflation is gonna catch up with you if
Yeah.
anything. If anything, and I wanna give them this perspective as well for people that are re-entering the workforce and are not coming from a, like, straight out of school or just a technical background. Um, Before I moved to Florida, I was an operations manager for a construction company, right? It was a small stucco company, and we had an office maybe 20-30 minutes outside of Atlanta. And these fellas, they were frat brothers and they had brought a business from a guy and things didn't go as they expected. So they lost him early. They lost the owner in of that company early in the game. So a lot of things they had to learn on their own. So they couldn't the salary that I was requesting they didn't want to pay. They brought in somebody and they fired her after 2 weeks and brought me in and and agreed to my salary with a review in 3 months. I was cool with that. So I'm there, and of course, I'm a systems person. You're gonna tell me your vision. I'm gonna find out how to make that happen. So over the course of time, speed it up. I'm like, okay, I've been here long enough to now let me streamline this. How can I make this better? Because the owners of the company and me, they are starting families. We're all across Atlanta. And this is now getting inconvenient. I don't want to come into this office all day because it's just me sitting here. The fellas that have to come here just to pick up a 2x4 or a can of stucco or some nails or some screws, it's really out of the way. So the problem for me was, how do I make this job remote? How do I make this remote, and how do I make it more convenient for our contractors, our subs, right? So what I did was I started testing things. I would be sick. I'm not coming home today. I'm not coming in today. I don't feel well, but I can still work. I'm gonna still answer the phone. I forwarded the phones to my cell phone. So I started automating myself basically out of my job. Oh, I'm not coming in today, but here I'm still answering the phones. Then I started saying, okay, if I want to work from home, what does that look like? Who do I need to talk to? Well, the technology is going to get me working from home. So I need to talk to our tech guy who's also a contractor. How can we do this from home? What do we need to put in place? What is the server? What is the phone? I start asking him questions and building out the infrastructure for us to be able to have a remote workforce way before COVID. Because me, if I am the operations and I am answering the phone and I'm doing all the files, I that's something that I control. So now what do I have to do for the subcontractors? How do I make it easier? Because if anybody knows about Atlanta, it's a circle and then the highways cut through. Well, where we were located was way outside of the circle. And so I said, hey, why don't we go ahead and get storage, a public storage off of this exit for here. It's going to cost us this, and the guys, we can put all our supplies in there, and they have a code and they can get anything they need, and they don't have to come 30 minutes to an hour out of their way every day to come there. I found the I was a solution. I was the solution. I was able to ask the right questions. Even though I didn't have all of the technical prowess, I was able to ask the right people the questions and put it together and put it in a digestible presentation and start to test those things. That's project management. That's operations. That's critical thinking. That's problem solving. That's analytics. Those are the things you need to have in this game. You might not know it all. You're not going to know all the applications. You're not going to know all of the systems, but how do you put your people together to make it happen, to solve the problem that you're having? And I know Stacy was saying the learning stuff can be overwhelming. You have to drill down. You have to pick one or two resources that you're going to learn from. You have to stay on your path. Somebody can't tell you, oh, you should think about this. You can think about that. Stick to what you have and build off your skill set.
I'm gonna ask this question: has anybody ever came up with a learning schedule and had somebody look at their learning schedule and then optimize over their learning schedule? I'm just curious if you ever created a learning schedule. What's your learning schedule like? And then optimize it on that.
And who's your study partner? Who's holding you accountable? Because if you had somebody that you were studying with and they were holding you accountable, why are you so off your path? Sasha D, I messaged you earlier today. Here's the question: in an org that has inactivated the ability to save closed captions and a lot of heavy access, how do you proceed? Number one, I would tell them I was neural deficient and I would get that back activated. But number two, there is a way where you can, if you open a document in Google and put on voice to text in the background, say you have another laptop, it will pick up the voices and automatically start typing it for you, like the easy way. And that's one easy way, but there's also other um applications that you can use that will pick up the voice and basically write it out. It's voice to text.
Well, what about this? Can you have the conversations recorded and then take the conversation and upload it to AI, or have AI translate it to you? I'll give you a summary of it, highlighting key points. I'm just curious. I'm not saying maybe upload that to a thing, but maybe that's something you can do. All right. So in the comments, everybody's like they want to get to the million a year jobs, right?
They can, cause great. Where is
So
that?
so show this right here.
Hold on a minute. I'm trying to
I
get
got you.
this off. Thank you. I'm going
All right, so I got you. So look, interested in quants? I posted this in Slack. Blah blah blah. Idea. Candidates will have spent a minimum 2 years at the top buy side firm or prop and have developed strategies and contributed to alpha generation, research on their current desk, so forth and so on. The pay range for a quantitative trader 800,000 to 1.5 million. That's the range. That is the range. Um, if you know about Joe, you know he's been here before. We talked about these jobs before. Nothing new. I brought Joe on when he was talking about the jobs for 10 million. Um, Let me look and see if what else Joe has posted on here. Yeah, that was this job right here. He did it 5 months ago where they were looking for 5 million to 10 million, and so forth. Uh, Somebody sounds like a dream, right? Blah blah blah. Great opportunity. I DM you, right? So you know you have to look where the jobs are at. I'm looking to see all of Joe's posts here. Mm, I'm not sure how much this one is. Director Enterprise Marketing. I'm not sure. Crypto startup, 150 base plus bonus equity and token component. To do quantitative trader, 101.5. Let's see. Let's see here. Uh, why can't you just go with the flow? Why can't you just be nice? Hold on. What can I reject? Mm, 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 mm. Oh, whatever, man. Get out the way. All right, 250, 150 to 250. Plus, you get a bonus or P&L split, profit and loss. That's what P&L is. Profit and loss. All right. All right. So here I went and looked up a site reliability job at University of Washington. So a lot of the colleges also hire, right? I did this before, talked about this before with University of Boulder. They do 200% match on certain jobs, not on all, but you can go through and see what they're looking for, so forth and so on, and go from there. Um, this came from here, right? Um, Break it down a little bit. Yeah. So, a lead AI architect, network specialist, senior application system engineer, a site reliability, a senior computer specialist, senior system software engineer. And this was just something I looked up at University of Washington. Let's go now to Georgia Tech IT jobs. So here we go. So right off the bat here, cybersecurity, infrastructure and foundational technologies, resource management, strategic initiatives, a systems or IT architect under data governance, right? Under data governance. Am I too big? You just need time today. So slow. Somebody needs to work on this website. Jesus. All right. This is okay. This is that job. So let's go. I hate when they do this. Why can't you just click on the job that I clicked on? That's why the job is empty. Thank you, Kiki. Um, I'll let that spin. Mm, Gonna let that spin. And we talked about that. Okay, so here, 5 years ago, because it's still spinning over there. All right, 200K technical jobs. This was 5 years ago on Reddit. And it said there's all these questions about getting into IT. Let's talk about the high end. Let's talk a bit about technical jobs that pay over 200K that aren't in large expensive cities like San Francisco, New York, and Seattle. Now, let's talk about that because some jobs are not in those cities that pay that 200K or 300K and so forth, right? So this person was talking about one Reddit poster is making over 200K in an architect position in the largest city. I saw another poster who was making 180K remote doing DevOps work. I was contacted about a position where I could work from home and live nearby and only come in twice a week and it paid 170. Have you seen high paying jobs in medium cost of living cities or that were 100% remote? What kind of numbers have you seen and what role is it? Engineer, ops, architect, pre-sales, and so forth. So it got 150 comments on this from 5 years ago, and people were talking about um upper management, but again, that's in Ohio. So, but again, in Ohio, it would depend on the company that you're working for and what that looks like. When I think Ohio, I wouldn't be me personally, I wouldn't be looking for anything private sector. I'd be looking for public sector, unless I'm gonna go work at Fame or Magna, whatever it's called now. All right. Let's see. In the security space, I know loads of people that work remote and are road warriors and make great money. A lot of them live in lower cost of living areas and benefit from big city paycheck and small town costs. Um, They talked about pen testers, consultants, security sales, pre-sales engineers, and security engineers. Your pre-sales engineers and your sales engineers are probably where you want to be. If you're gonna go engineering, I mean, if you're gonna go sales and so forth, they make good money. I mean, when I say good money, 300 or whatnot. I mean, look, because 5 years ago, people were not talking about 100K. I don't know why 100K is so important now. I don't know why that's a thing. Like I made a comment about this. Making 100K is fine. It's to me it's a average job to me, and people say, well, not everybody is making 100K. You can go look at the statistics and say that, but I bet you if we broke them statistics down um by job, we would see who's really making what, right? I think if we broke those stats down by job careers, we'll really see what that looks like. You said you got a job offer analyst in Charlotte and had to turn it down. The Meta badge has brought me a lot of opportunities since started. Yeah, yep, yep. Right. If you don't mind, like 200K plus, or what kind of numbers are we talking about here? If you don't mind, I really like to push over 200, and I'm open to a variety of roles, consulting, and so forth, and it's like what jobs, where free. Please feel free to scam this post, so forth and so on. So I'm just showing you all where the jobs are at, and I want to pull this out, right? The best, the 25 highest paying Linux job administrator jobs in 2024. All right. What are the highest paying ones? Let's just talk about it. All right. The best Linux administrator jobs can pay up to 205. Well, we saw just on my own research, they go a little higher. But we'll go with this for now. All right. So a Linux administrator is both an IT professional and a people manager. Administrators oversee their team and ensure that everyone is on task and the project is progressing on schedule. That's lead administrators. Right. Linux administrators may train other team members and leaders. They monitor or servers, ensuring that it's healthy. They do this by conducting regular backups, administrating patches, and so forth. Becoming a Linux administrator requires education and experience. First, you need a degree, which is not necessarily true. You do need a certification. Um, you, let me quantify that. You need a certification if you don't have any background, any skills. You don't need a certification if you got skills in it. What does degree help? The degree helps if you are going to go launchpad into management or be in a leadership position, because then people are going to start to compare you with other people and what skill sets you have and what your education background has. So again, it's not necessarily the thing, but I would like for us to have degrees and certifications just to clear the board. Like you, when you look at me, you can't question my education, right? The next step is to gain solid knowledge of servers running Linux. By working under an experienced administrator, you can change companies in a few times and so forth and so on. High paying Linux administrator jobs. Red Hat engineer. The majority of Red Hat salaries across the United States range from 41,000 to 205,000 annually. This large range of salary potential suggests that there may be opportunities for advancement, increased pay depending on the skill level, location, and so forth, uh, based on job postings on ZipRecruiter and so forth. Um, Notice it didn't say nothing about Linux Plus. Not knocking in the Linux Plus, but again, I just know Red Hat RECSAs to be paid a little bit more. Add a clearance, you're golden. All right, Linux support engineer usually range from 152 to 167. Most people working in this role Make similar regardless of skill level, location, and years of experience. A kernel developer, 135 to 165. I'm going to push back on that. A kernel developer that understands Linux working in NVIDIA, you're not making 135 to 165. Probably a little bit more. I'm just going to say. Okay? Just going to say. Same way with the embedded Linux engineer, 109 to 160. Any of your Intel, AMD, telcos, embedded companies, edge computing companies are probably gonna pay you another 60 to 100,000 on top of that for those skill sets. A Linux architect, 22 to 1, 22,000. I don't know no Linux architect that makes $22,000. I don't know no Linux architect that makes $22,000. This must be in, is it Lax? Is that what it is in India? LAKS or whatever it is. I don't know nobody that make that. Trust me when I tell you. All right. So I'm gonna rule that out because I think that's a lie. I've never heard of that. The large, this large salary, this large range of salary suggests there are maybe opportunities for advancement and increased pay as well. I don't know nobody that's a Linux administrator that get paid $22,000, much less an architect. Stop the cap. All right, a senior Linux engineer, 100,000 to 175. I can probably go along with that. You know, I can go along with that. A consultant, 65 to 145. Yeah, depends on the consultant and the skill level. You could be a consultant and probably charge 100 an hour or 75 an hour or 90 an hour or 120 an hour. It depends on the consultant and what you're looking for and what it is. Solaris, 20. I don't know no Solaris sysadmins, even back in my day, that made 22,000 a year. This is a lie. Linux DevOps. Well, we saw DevOps, right? We saw the Linux DevOps or the system DevOps engineer. We saw that. It was not 103 to 104. It was not 103 to 140. Again, that's why I got these things so you can see how much of a difference a lot of these things are and do your own research and come up with what you think you're worth and stay in that range. Stay in the range, right? If they're saying 103 to 140, take this divided by two, that's probably where they probably will fall at for a job. But then you say, if I'm getting paid that now, I'm not gonna get paid that in my next job. I'm gonna want to bump up, right? I'm gonna want 25,000, 30,000 more, right? All right, Linux network engineer, 125 to 140. 100 to 139 for Linux engineer. This is a Linux network engineer. Red Hat Linux engineer, 109 to 140. We saw them go higher than that. So same thing with the senior Linux system engineer. We've seen them higher than that. Again, a lot of that depends on the industry, government, DoD, Intel, all that pays different. And you can kind of see that most of these jobs are not falling under the 100,000 on the high end of these, right? On the high end of these. So I wanted to bring that to you. Here's one. A junior. A junior. I don't know if junior is a one or a two. If you go to captivation, the ones was making 250. So I mean, like I don't know. I don't know. Uh I don't know. All right. Let's go here. I'm just curious if it'll come up anything. I just want to see if anything comes up. 148, 126. This is still pulling Zip Recruiter. See, there's that's what I'm talking about. What is this right here? It pulls that back, but whatever. If you go to the ladders, they're pulling back this one, 198, 170, 92. Average compensation 108 and so forth. But let me go here. Um, let me do this. I probably had to do it in the other one. Let's see what we pull back. Okay. All right. So here's what the ladders is saying. All right. So the ladders, full scope, 4 weeks ago, staff, HPC, Linux. Web infrastructure, full stack, Tesla, Amazon, Parsons, Tesla, machine learning, senior data, enterprise architecture. Here's the one for Red Hat. That's what I was looking for. OpenShift AI. 163 to 269 Linux. And you could probably type in OpenShift in here. Um and let's see. Cloud specialist, remote, AWS K8, GKE, Kubernetes still falls under Kubernetes. That's really what it's pulling. So I mean, get good at one thing, make that your base that you're really good at. Like if you're really good at networking, be fire. Like be fire at it. If you're really good at going through and understanding Active Directory, be fire at it. Like be that's your thing. All right. That's your thing. I wanted to talk about this, but I'll talk about this next week. Um Linux One servers and a unified data center operations, and what is unified data center operations. I'll talk about that next week. I didn't get a chance to talk about the back door here. I didn't get a chance to talk about that. I did not get a chance to talk about Linux Foundation tackling financial fraud. What does that sector look like with Linux and financials and fraud? There's a whole career path on that. I did not touch on that. Platform con, I did not touch on that. So I got some stuff. I'm gonna say these. I'm gonna talk about them next week. Because there is, and I've been talking about this movement forever. On the movement with Linux and fraud and financial. What does that look like? What are we gonna be up against next? What kind of skill sets are they looking for from people? When it comes to that. I don't know why my screen went blank, but I'm back. I unplugged my other screen. But we'll talk about that. Let me see. See, are you trying to do classes? Oh yeah, live classes. You can go to Sander Van Goot and get live classes with Sander Van Goot. He has live classes that you can take. You can go to Pearson's. He does them. I used to do them. It depends on what you're looking for. What are you looking for in those live classes? Are you looking for like what Linux is, how to use it, or whatever what I'm not sure. I'm about to choose between the A plus cert and Linux plus, but this would be my first cert. Any recommendations? If you don't know what a keyboard is or a mouse,
A
yeah,
plus is a reference book. You should not be
like
getting a certification.
listen, I don't knock anybody that sell y'all the A plus. Go do your thing. But if you're looking to get a job, and let me clarify this. If you're looking to get a job that does not have you working and getting paid 16, 17 an hour, people going my comrades are gonna shoot me for this. Tamika, people gotta start somewhere. All right. So here go my soapbox. Why we always gotta start at the bottom? Why we always gotta be like, woe it's me, I've been working on the plantation. Like, I don't understand that concept. I'm like, if I know what's gonna get you some money and you could hold out 3 months, the learn Linux, get your security plus, right? RCSA, get your security plus, flip around, understand uh Ansible, Puppet. I don't care which one, right? I prefer Ansible because I think it's just easier to learn. And then shoot off in that direction and go from there. Now, don't think that because you learned the RCSA and Ansible and Security Plus, somebody is going to be like, you're a DevOps engineer.
Gotta have you.
That's
Gotta
not
have you.
that's not how
Here's
that
the
works.
offer.
Yeah, that's not how that works. But what does work is you're slated to go into like somebody sponsoring you for clearance, um, and then backdoor that, let somebody pay for you to learn Kubernetes, learn on the job, and then in 3 years, jump up, right? So the security plus is always going to be a thing with the government jobs. You just got to have that, and then work your way from there. So security plus Linux, security plus Terraform, security plus Ansible, security plus Windows, security plus. It's just gonna be the baseline. I'm just giving you three to learn so that you can always have one leg up in your pay. So it just makes you a little bit more marketable, and then you go from there, right? Yep, your A plus helps in the data center. That's what I'm saying. That's where it's at, the data center, and it helps in the at the help desk. But if you want to go work at rack space on Linux machines, the A plus does nothing for you. Right. So you
A
got to
plus
figure
is
out
purely
where
language.
yeah, you got to figure out where you see yourself starting, right? If you don't know nothing about a computer, you don't know what a diode is or a transistor or uh how to set up memory and all that, well, maybe the A plus would be for you. But after that, it's like, okay, you this would be my recommendation. You get the A plus, what job are you gonna apply for? So I would look at what job is going to require my A plus skill set and certification, and then figure out whether or not I would study for it. That's how I would look at it.
Yeah, and I am a little different. For me, the A plus, I didn't get a certification. It is a reference book for me, but it built my confidence of putting my hands on a keyboard and knowing parts and pieces, because when you come over into tech from anywhere else, what happens is that you are that fear of like, is it, what is this? Do I know enough? What is this piece called? Oh, what is yeah, I know a keyboard and I know a mouse and I know the power cord and plug it up, but there were other things. The book is this thick. You know what I'm saying? So there's other things in that book. However, it was a confidence boost for me to confirm that I knew more than what I thought I knew, and when it came to the fundamentals of a computer. And I think what happens is, from Tam's perspective, is that you get so far removed from that basic fundamentals that you're just like, ah, you don't need it. But some people do need it.
No, no, that's not what I'm saying.
No,
That you
no, no. I'm
don't.
just saying, but I'm just saying from the outside looking in, you get so far removed from just that simplistic part of just the basic computing that you're like, oh, you don't need it. No, I'm not saying go get no certification in it.
No, this is what I'm saying is I just don't know a job outside of the help desk or working
And I agree.
in a data center where most people don't want to work at the help desk and they don't want to work at a data center, or if they do, they get stuck. And I'm just simply saying, why are we keep going down this route? I get it. Man, just go buy a computer, take it apart, put it back together, buy some parts, upgrade it, blow a hole in it, blow a fuse in it, and fix it, and put it back together. That's just my thoughts. Because at the end of the day, the we're moving so fast with technology, and we're moving so fast that I just don't see where the A plus is gonna hold you down for you to build your wealth and your family. I see it being like a 3-year type of thing where you're just gonna be there. Cause like, look, listen, there are some companies out there that are like, yeah, we want somebody to come in rack and stack. Okay, great. You understand how to rack and stack computers. You understand, and that's go back into data centers, and that go back into like literally physically building out a MSP or working in a co-location or something like that. That makes sense to me if that's your vision of yourself. Like you like, oh, I want to work in the data center. I want to work in a knock. But if your vision, I want to be a cloud architect, even the AWS practitioner doesn't even cover nothing about the A plus. Right. So it's just like I think we spend so much time at the lower levels. And this is to me because own personal opinion. I think we spend so much time at the lower level jobs that we never see ourselves in the higher paying jobs. And then we spend 3 to 5 or 7 years in the lower paying jobs until we click and wake up one day. And then 7 years has passed us by, and your counterparts that started with you maybe in your starting tech journey have doubled their income, and now you're just now making it to the 60,000, 70,000 job, and you're grateful for it, but you're also missing out on the skill set that's needed to elevate you to the next one because we done moved on to something else. This is just my own personal opinion, and I worked at the help desk. I worked at the help desk. I worked at, getting things together. I did all of that. I just think at some point we gotta say to ourselves, where do we want where do we want our life to look like? Because I see so many people come in and they get in the help desk and they like, yeah, I work in tech. I'm a computer support specialist. And it's fine. But what's your next step? What's gonna be your next step? Because as a computer support specialist, I'm putting $100 on it. I'm gonna put $100 on it. As a computer support specialist, your manager and your other team members are not coming to you and say, "I want you to learn this because it's gonna elevate your career." They're gonna leave your ass right there. And they be like, "Well, you been here, you a computer support specialist one, two, three, lead. You know all about it." And you be like, you go to the meetings and you start talking to other team leads, and they be like, "Oh yeah, I'm a team lead for DevSecOps, or I'm a team lead for platform engineering. They're paying me 450 and blah blah blah." You were like, "Well, I'm only getting paid 76,000." And then they're gonna rattle off this list like I did tonight. You need to learn dot 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 dot. And you're gonna be like, "I'm overwhelmed. I don't know when I'm gonna learn this, but I'm determined to learn." But it's gonna take you another year or two to kind of grasp that concept and learn it. And now you getting even more left behind. And that's next thing you know, it's 10 years. And you're like, "I done spent 10 years doing this and I only got paid 76,000. And I'm like, "Man, well, hey, this is my own thought process. My own thought process. This is Tamika's thought process. I'm just saying there's a way we can speed up that process. Read the book, get your computer, build it, tear it down, understand how data centers work, what networking is, how to do a NIC bond, VLAN, so forth. You can spend a year doing that, like really getting good at that, right? And then in the meantime, in between time, learn Linux and then go in and say, "Okay, the best way to do that, it still goes back to Linux, is be a Linux admin and literally build computers using the A plus, like putting in memory into a system, putting in a hard drive, rack and stacking, get you a 40U unit or even a half height, a 25U unit, start cabling and racking servers up. You want to be A plus, do that. 'Cause that get you paid. That at least get you 90 working at the knot. And that's your A plus right there. After a while, you and then you start learning DevOps. But that's just my thing. He spent 5 years at the help desk with a TSSCI clearance before he took the 6 years. That's what I'm saying. Like you literally, you get into that. You just be, and I just really want more for us. And we just be so happy to get in tech, and we just be so happy to get the job. Trust me, I've been there. I know what it's like. I get it. So gosh, no, I get it. But man, stop being so happy for the bare minimum. For the bare minimum. Man, these jokers out here getting 700,000, 800,000, a million. Like, man, like, yo, it's like you gotta get it, man. Stop accepting the bare minimum in your life and the bare minimum for yourself. Like we got things to do. You got even if you don't have no kids, you still got mouths to feed because you eat. You got friends. You got people you hang out with. You got a mama. You got a daddy. You got somebody that act like a mama or act like a daddy if you don't like them. But I'm just saying, like, at what point are we gonna get off the bare minimum and I'm gonna do the bare minimum? At what point does that happen? When do we wake up and like, man, I'm showing you, man, like, man, here's man, like, I don't know about you. I don't know about y'all, but I be excited, man. Like, ooh, my today, my portfolio, my portfolio made $1,000 today. Man, my goal, like I said, every day I need to make $500 in my portfolio every day at a minimum. And that's a bare minimum, right? That's me doing nothing, right? That's a bare minimum. Like, oh, did it make 500? Oh, cool. I met my goal. If it didn't make 500, I'm like, something going on in the market. I ain't make my five. What I need to do? All right, let me go on and double up on these because this right over here look like it's doing good. I see something popping over there. I'm going over there. Like, man, at the end of the day, you gotta want it so bad that it, like, when somebody tell you no, you be like, bet. And that goes back to what I said this morning when I was looking at Cheryl Miller. And she was talking and she was like, She's like, every time somebody told her that she couldn't do something, it was motivation for her to do even more and go all out, right? And it kind of got me to thinking about one of the things that she said when she said her coach would come to her and tell her don't celebrate and this and that, and it got me thinking about the Ocho Cinco, and even back in the day before Ocho with Deion Sanders, people would tell you not to celebrate your wins, but really what they saying to you, in my opinion, what they saying to you, I'm not comfortable with you being successful and happy. And so why you not comfortable with me and being successful and happy? Because I'm comfortable. And it's always like a dig to shun you, to get you to humble and be and stay in your place. At some point, you got to come out of that place. You got to go ahead and punch people in the throat and be like, look, I came in here, I got my guns ablazing. I'm ready to pew pew pew. Anytime you ask me something, I got an answer for you. But you got to be a student of the game. You got to be a student of the game. You got to be like you. It ain't nothing. No one ain't. If you do data engineering, and I ask you a question, you better go find that answer, or you better have some type of way on how you would derive to get to it. I should know more than you about what you do and what you do every single day. It's like nobody can't tell you nothing about what you do every day. And if you can't live up to that expectation, then just be okay with being medium or below medium, whatever that looks like for you. Because this is something that me and Kelsey talk about. I want you to be elite, and people like that's putting a lot of pressure on people. Them bills put pressure on you. That mortgage put pressure on you. That insurance payment put pressure on you. That food prices put pressure on you. You okay with that, but you're not okay with being elite for yourself? Man, get out of here. At what point do we say, I'm not going to take the minimum? At what point do we say, look, I seen what the minimum look like. I'm going to do more than that. I'm over here. We over here. The answer is not no. The answer is like, oh, yes, I could do it and I'm on it. And just give me a day to go figure it out. Let me get in the hole. Let me get in the zone. Nah, I'm not going outside. What you want to do? You want to go to brunch? Nah, I got eggs and grits here. I'm good. I catch you. I catch y'all. Look, don't call me next week either. I ain't going. Or the week after that, I ain't going. Call me in a month. I may stick my head up for a minute. Call me in a month. Either way it go, I'm on my game. I'm on my hustle. I don't have time to go outside and play with you because brunch turns into drinks. Drinks turns into a couple other things. Whether it's you're walking or you're going to the next spot, and next thing you know, it's 9 o'clock at night, and you were like, God Almighty, everything gone. So stop saying that you need to go outside and catch a break, or you gonna miss the concert, or you gonna miss this festival. That festival gonna be there. Listen, you ain't gonna miss Frankie Beverly and Maze. He been touring for half a century. You gonna go. You gonna go see Frankie, and you gonna do the same electric slide that y'all been doing. Y'all gonna wear the same white. Y'all gonna see y'all. He ain't gonna even halfway sing the songs. Y'all gonna be singing them. At some point, you just gotta say, "I got to grind. I got to grind." You got to grind. You got to put in the time. And guess what? This is what another thing that I said before. I said this before. At the end of the day, I can't get back 8 o'clock tonight. I can't go get that back. I can't get back 10:27. I can't go back and get 10:19. I can't go back and get 9 o'clock. I can't go back and get that time back. So the take the time to understand and be strategic about where you're going. If you're not listening to me, that's fine. I don't know why you come here. Go listen to me on episode 124 and yesterday. I have shown you how to get to your millions. Now, am I talking about content creation? No. Am I talking about, having all these other little string? No. I'm this is what I'm saying. Buckle down right now. 5 years, 7 years. Get your 500,000 to 700,000. Now, if you want to go off and be whatever, a YouTuber, a gardener, whatever the case may be, I don't care. At least you got a nest egg that's already there for you, and you don't have to worry about, "Mm, I gotta go make some more money because I don't have." But you got a nest egg. If you want to switch up the game and then you want to go back and learn something else, you could go learn something else. At least you got a nest egg. At least you got a little something. Jerome said he can't even sing no more. Yeah. Yep, Chad Johnson. Right? Again, whenever you think that getting ready to go outside, listen, I said I was gonna start doing this. I was just gonna start dropping women in Linux uh study sessions. Just like, look, y'all ain't gotta go outside. You don't have to listen to people on YouTube or whatever. Let's just drop a link and just like, you study whatever you gonna study. I study whatever I'm gonna study. We just gonna put on some music or something like that, just to get people to hold each other accountable on having a time where you just study. I don't care if it's an hour every single day. Just put on like, hey, we're gonna meet up, get y'all get whatever. Hey, y'all do y'all thing. I'm gonna share my screen. You do your thing. You share your screen, and we just gonna have just a study session. I don't have to talk. You just see my screen, and you can ask me a question or somebody ask you, just to get one. It holds me accountable, but two, it just puts you in thing like, y'all. Now we about to have our study session. What you studying? Oh, I'm studying this, and she gonna study that. But we just meeting up like we meeting up at the library, just to like, you study your thing and I study my thing. But it just holds you accountable when you just meet up and you just sit it and you just got the camaraderie where you just sit down and you just like, man, look, man, this week she shared her screen and I was watching her do X, Y, and Z, and made me motivate. Like, now you start to get into the swing of motivating yourself, because you know what happens is, I share my screen and I show you what I'm doing. You gonna come back next week and you gonna study your stuff, because the best way to know that you know something is you teach it to somebody else, right? So now you in your study session, you're like, okay, this week I did this. I'm gonna show them next week in my study session what I did. And now now it's just you're just learning, just from different people, but you're holding yourselves and each other accountable. Or you can just say, okay, cool, man, check this out, man. This is what we've been doing. I ain't go outside tonight. And I get it. Sometimes you need a break. I need a break sometimes. But I'm just saying, don't take too many, because too many breaks it breaks up your routine, and it takes you out the mindset of where you're trying to go, right? And again, I may be on the slow bus side, right? On the conservative side, I may be like, you know, you know, get good grades, go to school, go to college. This that I may be on the slow side, whatever. I just know the people that are in and around me that I have seen over the last 15 to 20 years are multimillionaires. And they all worked in the same field that I worked in. And we all have done the same thing. The only nuance is some have gone down the route of profit sharing and some have gone down the route of consulting. But primarily, all of them have been in the field of uh DoD, or they worked in site reliability engineering, infrastructure, platform, along those lines. That's just what I know. Is that a bad thing? I don't know. I just know those people have made have become multimillionaires, and they still work, and they're doing quite fine. And D, am I lying? Like D know exactly the people I'm talking about. I can rattle off probably like 10 of them.
I mean, I don't know why that's where W-2 millionaire comes from. I mean, again, these things come across the desk. They're in the world. They're in our world. We bring them to the show. We bring them to the meetups. Like, you know how I feel about it. You either gonna show up and
I
get your
am
gems
fat snow
or
fluff.
not.
I am not a nerd.
She's a geek.
I
She's
am
a
not a
binary
nerd.
hustler.
I'm a binary hustler. Listen, fat snow fluff, let me tell you this. I like what I like. And I know what I like costs money. And I know what I like is not I'm not gonna get you I ain't gonna get paid $22,000 a year and go after the things that I like. That ain't gonna happen. I got a watch right now. I got a Breitling watch right now that need to go get fixed. And it's been months. And I've been
And she had the nerve to buy another watch. I'm like, how long you gonna wear this watch? Like you don't even wear watches.
I I yes, you do Linux first before you do Kubernetes. Absolutely. And when I say Kubernetes, I'm talking be a be a monster. GKE, EKS, vanilla, Kubernetes, Rancher. Let that be your thing, because those are usually the ones that most people are using anyway. OpenShift, OpenShift, uh, open source OpenShift from Red Hat. Let that be your thing. I'm not flexing. That's for real. That I brought this watch on the show before. This ain't no flex. I this watch just came up here before. No flex.
Well, I don't know what you talking about, but I'm a pressure wash the deck so I can move my office back outside so I can get some vitamin D so I can reset my internal clock because I haven't been right since COVID. And so I need some sunlight. See, I'm a pressure wash the deck. I'm a pressure wash the table. I'm gonna put my artificial grass out there and some stuff, and I'm going back outside
You go back outside and be
and
sitting right here.
be solar charged.
I'll be right here. I ride with the top down. That's enough. Now that's a flex. Tam, you are a nerd, like cool, blah blah. Finished the set plus last month. What's up going on, Lynn? Next up, Kubernetes, then Lynn. Go get your Linux first, Lynn. You know what, Lynn? You could take the fundamentals of Kubernetes for free. That'll give you at least a baseline for that, and then go back and do your Linux. The geek shall inherit the earth. Geek at Freaknik. See, was I a geek at Freaknik? Nah, I wasn't a geek at Freaknik. Nah. And Freaknik, I was out of college. I mean, out of high school, trying to figure out life. Sunlight study session. Are there any less? I listen. I'm going to stick to go get your Safari account. That's what I'm gonna stick to. I'm gonna stick beside Safari.
It's O'Reilly online. It's not called Safari anymore. It's O'Reilly online.
Listen, when I type in Safari on my thing, it come
I
right
get
on
it,
up.
but you know,
It come
I
right
get
on
it.
up. It come right on up. I'm gonna stick beside it.
We know.
Look, I type in Safari books online.
It should come up. They marketed it for years. It should come up. It should come up. And for
Shoot,
people and if you have if check your library subscription because you might get it for free.
come right on up.
The state of California library offers O'Reilly subscription with your library card.
The KCNA is good for learning cube terms. Yep. Thanks for your advice. I asked 15,000 more than what they were offering, and they agreed. Bog, good job, but 25,000 is what you want. Good job, but 25. Don't be afraid. Throw it out there. Let them talk you off the ledge. So, Lady B, if you get it for free, go ahead and go down the rabbit hole of. I was just in here. I'm in here right now. They got IT ops. They have let me see. If you go to topics, they got cloud computing, data engineering, ML, AI, programming languages, software architecture, IT ops, security, design, and business. If you look under IT ops, they got Kubernetes, Docker, GitLab, Terraform, continuous delivery, continuous integration, database administration, and computer networking. Then they got IT certifications, right? On operating systems and IT certifications. So you can pick your path. Like we say, pick your poison. You can pick your poison. Lindsay Cameron's name, but a cloud guru bought them, and it's okay for a minute. But the Pluralsight bought a cloud guru, and their stuff is old. I mean, yeah, their stuff is
Oh, I can
old.
imagine.
That's why I don't even fool with. That's why you'll never hear me like go Pluralsight. The only person I would say go Pluralsight is go check out Bucatech, Steve Buchanan. He creates classes in Pluralsight. He's like a master teacher over there. So I say go check him out. Shout out to Bucatech. He's actually got his first speaking engagement. Not speaking engagement, but his first what's it called? Where you lead the conference. What's it called? I get the term right now.
What do you mean, speaker?
Yeah, but what's the lead speaker? What's the keynote?
Oh, keynote.
Yeah. Yeah, I have walked through O'Reilly. I'll walk through it again. What's the difference between Linux and Bash? Well, Bash is on Linux. It's the Bash shell. It's a shell on Linux. What is SNHU? I'm not sure who that is. I don't know about Linux, and I mean I know about Linux in a nutshell, but I'm not sure what you're referencing there. Mm-mm. New Hampshire. Oh yeah, I see a lot of people talking about uh WGU as well too. Um, Unagreeable. Go and get the if you're trying to do the RHCSA, just go get the. And I don't. You know what? You know what? I don't know. I talked about this before. I don't know why y'all just don't go to Red Hat website and look at the system administration. How they have
It's
their
not pretty
documentation.
enough. It's
It
it's
got a
not
whole. They got a whole.
it's not pretty enough.
It take a long
It
time.
don't have the colors in the pictures. It's intimidating for somebody that does not know it.
Well,
When you get
okay, this is what I can say.
when you
It
get
is.
Coursera stuff that
It
has photos.
the Sanders stuff gets to the point of what you need to pass the test. But the Red Hat site is begging. It's begging.
Yeah, yeah, because it's documentation and it's laid out just as documentation. But for somebody that's a new learner trying to learn some stuff, they need
That's
uh
what I said.
charts and graphs and pictures. But
That's what
it's
I
great information. The
I mean,
courses are
listen.
great. You get you get your captions. It's great. You can slow it down, speed it up. Their
Well,
training
no,
is top
no,
tier training.
no. I'm just talking about the documentation. I ain't even talking about the training. Like if you went to Red Hat site and you go and say, okay, documentation install for Rail 9.3.
I already know.
And I'm just saying that it'll give you the little install and say which one you want to do
But
online or whatever.
everybody's a little everybody learns different, Tamika.
You're gonna learn my way.
Everybody learns different.
You're gonna learn my way. Whatever.
You
But
know, a
anyway,
lot of people don't want to follow the directions on Red Hat. Nobody wants to go to the documentation for the off on their
exactly.
side. They want
It
to
gets
learn it on
step by
YouTube.
step. It gets
But
step by
every,
step.
every, every software has their own website with the documentation where you can learn step by step. But as soon as you tell some people say, okay, learn Terraform, people gonna go, oh, can I learn it on YouTube? What's the class? Go to HashiCorp, type in Terraform and go click install. That's what you can go do. People don't want it that simple. Absolutely not. What was that? Were you taking yourself down?
Mm-mm.
What was that?
I just went black.
I mean, why were you going black?
The disappoint.
Where's my remote?
The disappointment.
I know. I know. Then if you put them on command line, a lot of people are Ubuntu Linux people, and they over here thinking they are killing it. Till they
Right.
come to meet up and they be on that command line and they be like, this is
It's
Linux, and you be
yeah.
like,
Ubuntu is
well,
different than
yes.
Red Hat. But that's what the Linux Plus does. Catch red colors exactly.
If she didn't want to be on camera, we could have took her off the camera.
No, he talking about doing that foolishness. Like, got my head hurt. And I'm gonna
I
need
mean,
me
I'm
a
going. I'm
mojito.
trust me now. If you coming down, if you coming over here, you it ain't calm down. You are going to be on the
Unagreeable.
command line.
You
Shout it.
keep asking about book recommendations. I told you, Sander Van Goot. Go check out his books at Pearson, or go read the documentation at Red Hat. That's what he pulls from. He literally pulls and makes his classes from the documentation at Red Hat.
And they spend so much time on it. It's really nice documentation. The courses are great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. She said, "The blind man." Ha ha ha. Okay. Mm-mm-mm. Let's go here and do this one. All right, here's the documentation for Real 9. They got the release notes. Always read the release notes.
Yeah, you love Ubuntu because it has a GUI on it. That's why you love it. You get on the command line and you be going cross-eyed.
Uh, you probably love Ubuntu because of if you're in the cloud, it's probably the base, or yeah, or if it's on the laptop.
Like, mm.
So here, right here, install real. Okay, you want to do a standard install, you want to do an advanced install, you want to do a boot option, you want to customize Anaconda, you want to upgrade it, you want to compose real images. Okay, system administration, deployment, administration, and tuning. Deployment, administration, and tuning. Hmm. Well, I probably want to do deployment, administration, and tuning. Configure basic system settings. Automating administration by using real system roles. You probably want to do that first. understanding infrastructure, understanding the mail servers, configuring databases, updating kernels, getting started with the GNOME desktop, right? Then they break it. They used to have it all in one big PDF. All of this was all in one big PDF. They got them broken down into multiple PDFs now. All identity management, security, all this used to be in one big PDF. I wish they would go back to that, but it done got too big now. It's too big now. They can't keep it in one PDF. Managing file systems, clusters, virtualization, cloud, everything you could possibly think of. You don't need to start with developing applications. You don't need that. But you will need some Red Hat insight and go from there. But I would start with installing um this first. Keep it really simple. And if you don't want to install, you could literally go to the cloud, hit you create you a VM here in Google with Red Hat on it, and then point it back to the satellite server on Red Hat side and keep it pushing. And so you can come in here. You can start with a free account, get you something easy. You can see here it says Debian by default here. Right? It says Debian. So you come in and you can change this to Red Hat. And you can change it to Rail 9. And then say pay as you go, but because you bring in your own subscription, you can say I brought my own subscription, and they tell you how to grant your access to your own subscription, which will be back at Red Hat because you get 15 licenses for free. Get 15 licenses for free. All right. So again, it depends on what you are trying to do. DevOps is you say kernel, and I'm thinking kernel matrix for the object detection. Yep, SSH into AWS boxes. Ansible is also yep. Right. So again, the money is out there for you all. We've gone way over our time. The money is out there. You can wait 5 years to go get it, but you can go get it now. A lot of people say you got to be excited about learning. You have to be excited about what you're doing. You have to be excited to be in this industry. This industry isn't for everybody. Everybody gonna tell you all the 1,001 excuses. They're gonna tell you that. Here's what I'm gonna tell you, and I'll leave it on this note. When you wake up tomorrow, you're gonna owe somebody some money. So you figure out where you want to be at.
Or you gonna have to spend some.
are you gonna
You have
are
to
you gonna
spend some.
find yourself doing a little something strange for a piece of change? I'm just saying you figure out where you want to be. Do you want to be on the side where you can make the money, or you want to be on the side where you're leading? Do you want to be on the side where you're inventing? Do you want to be on the side where you're creating? I'm just giving you the different paths. I strictly focus on infrastructure. If y'all don't know that by now, I'm an infrastructure girl. It has paid me, and I'm gonna be an infrastructure girl for life. I'm gonna ride this thing on out for the next 10 to 17 years or so. And that's just what it is. I'm not gonna be flipping and going over. I might flip and go do some blockchain. I might flip and do a little Web3, but that's after my retirement. My nest egg that I'm building up to, if y'all don't know, if you haven't heard, is $10 million. That's what I'm trying to retire on. So when I hit 60 and I hit my 10 million and I'm retired, and if I feel like working to 67, that's what I feel like doing. But that's my goal. How did you get there? I already showed you. What did I do? I already showed you. Get your stocks up, get your money up, get your bonuses up, get your sign-on bonuses up. Ain't nothing like compound interest. Everybody else will tell you something different. Everybody gonna tell you all these other things. Invest in real estate, nothing wrong with it. I think for me, I just know that I don't want to be managing multiple houses. And I think I have settled on I just like land. I think I just like land. I don't mind the houses, but I think I just like land.
They have become a lot of problems lately.
Hmm.
People, the scammers is being scammy. Like, like I'm not about to be doing all of these deals and stuff, and you gonna come over here and steal my deeds and transfer it in your name. I'm going to hunt you down. No,
Yeah.
no. It's gotten way too scammy. Like, I'm gonna need to get the municipalities to tighten up in
Yeah.
the property appraiser's office. They need to
Yeah.
tighten up.
Yeah. And so I think I'm okay. That well, it was another problem with real estate. A couple had some land, and the I think the plot on the scale was wrong. And so the builder built on their land. They built a brand new house on their land and sold it. They owned the plot, but they had never built nothing on it. And the developer called them and said, "Hey, don't you want the plot right next to yours?" And they was like, "No, we picked out this plot because of the sunset and the sunrise. That's what we wanted." And so now, because the developer built on their plot and sold it, it's suing them because they don't want the plot next to them in the subdivision.
I don't want no
And
land in no subdivision.
and and they're garnishing their wages.
Who is garnishing the wages?
So they went to court, and the court and they went to court, and the judge was like, "Well, y'all can come up with something outside this somehow or another." They ended up garnishing this couple's wages. And so now this couple's got to pay this developer for a mistake he made and sold their plot. I'm like, so where is they laying at? Do you give them the land next to them? I'm just saying, I'm gonna stick with the land. I'm gonna stick beside the land.
I'm not getting a land in the subdivision because it's gonna get burnt up. Sorry. And just be out there sleeping in the morning. Like, no, 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 no. It's gonna be way out in the way. Me and my trailer. But even out there, they try to run you off your land way out in the sticks, off the
Mhm.
grid. Like, you really can't win for losing. So if you're gonna go, you might as well be a couple of people and go in on something because they're gonna try to stick you anyway. Go. But hey,
Yeah.
sometimes stuff is lose lose. You gotta have to figure out how you want to lose.
Yep. So I don't know what side of tech or what side of what your end goal is. I've been sharing with you the industries. I shared with you the 16 critical industries on Saturday, where the government is pumping billions into. I shared with you the new industry they're trying to create, which is the space industry as a critical industry. And so that means they're going to be pumping money into that. And we're talking space is projected to be 1 trillion by 2025 in all aspects of it. So all that quantum, all that AI, all that security, all that infrastructure, that's what space is. And expect that to be larger than 1 trillion by 2025. I'm expecting that to double 2 to 3. So I'll be on my millionaire march. Catch y'all later.
Have a good night.